Long time no talk. Mm, that's very sweet. Is it Christmas Eve? Mm, it is Christmas Eve. And I want you guys to know I see you. I'm here for you. Mm, kind of in as much way as I can. I'm more of like a representative. We're living different lives, but some part of my life, like you might relate to, and I want to bring that part to life. I want to be the black girl on the internet who's giving you all the unpopular opinions. Take some time with me. Sip your favorite beverage if it's orange juice. Brew, now you want to come back? I have kittens now. If you follow me on Instagram, you would know I actually have kittens now. One of my kittens likes my cord a lot, and he just sits over there eating it. So that's the thing. Anyway, I actually made notes, and I'm just gonna go down the list of things that I want to talk about. First, strange. Sorry. So, oh, the first thing is the offensiveness of the color purple, the movie. The color purple is trauma porn. Oh my god. Bruce, seriously, don't break my. Stop it! He's like playing with my tripod. Hey, Bruce, stop it. Sorry. The offensiveness of the color purple. So, the color purple is offensive because it like shows this narrative of. Brew, it shows this narrative of trauma porn where you think that like all black people, especially all black women, are living this life of like exploitation and destitution. And though a lot are, a lot of it is propagated by media that's exactly like this. They keep putting out movies that are like, oh my god, there's some predator man and the world hates you and blah blah blah. The reality is most people don't care about you. I made this channel for black women, but it kind of feels like everyone except for black women is like finding it. There's some black women who are finding it, but it kind of feels like these are the woke black women. I'm not a woke black woman. I'm a black woman who like, how can I say this? Like I put my own comfort before other things. And so this actually leads me into a topic that's way way down the list, but I'm going to explain to you why this is important. So I put this comment that's like above average or above average. Now on this channel, I try to tell a lot more stories that are like above average black women. I talk about Jasmine Tukes. I talk about Lori Harvey. I talk about Leah Kibiti, right? Like the thing about being a supermodel is not just a thing about you being pretty. Being pretty is one thing, and there's kind of like a skeleton to being pretty. Like you, there's not a such thing where you're going from being born ugly and then all of a sudden you just become a supermodel. So like plastic surgery can only take you so far. I also thought it was funny. Some of my commenters are the people who are like, Taylor Swift isn't pretty. They were like, Taylor Swift had plastic surgery and Olivia Rodrigo did not have plastic surgery. That narrative is hilarious. Like, there's another video that I'm gonna make after this, but we'll kind of save that for. Oh my god, my kittens are very funny. We'll save that for the video after this. I'll post that one tonight too, though. That's the kittens. They're just running wild. Um. So okay, what I was writing about earlier, and I'm just gonna talk about it, is this idea of like average versus above average. So the above average pretty experience is not this one that actually comes from your genetics. Like some people, for some reason, and I keep hearing this in the black community, like the black community seems to think that there's like one version of like what it would almost be like if we were to say like coffee. Okay, so like we all know what like coffee is, right? And like we can also talk about coffee being like good coffee versus bad coffee. If you're like a coffee snob, then you'd be like, "Oh my god, I don't even drink Starbucks." But if you're like an average coffee consumer, Starbucks is totally fine because you're getting the grain or whatever. And actually, they have beans from some pretty decent places. But if you're like a coffee snob and like you know coffee, then you'd probably be talking about like Phil's or Pete's, or I don't actually know any good ones in Nashville that are like really delicious coffee. I haven't personally tried any yet. And all the coffee places that I know of that are like not from California, not from Nashville, Tennessee, they sell them here at the grocery stores anyway. So it's like I'm getting the same coffee that I was getting in California, but I'm just getting it here. So like I don't know. I haven't personally tried any like Nashville specific coffee. I'm like, oh my god, this is way better. So but we can have a serious conversation about there being like coffee being a thing and then there being differences within the quality of coffee, especially for people who are very familiar with coffee. The same thing is true for like pretty women. Like for some reason in the black community, you guys only seem to be accepting of like one version of pretty. I think in the black community for some reason, even though people seem to like not really identify colored people as black, so that and therefore like Zendaya wouldn't be considered black, like she's the person who's like the pretty person in the black community, even though she's not black or something. Or now we're having conversations about Tyla, like oh she's. I think that Tyla's pretty, but if Tyla's not considered black, I don't actually want to talk about her anymore because I talk about like black pretty on this channel. You see what I'm saying? So like I covered Tyla because like in relation to the other commentary channels who have like lanes, like I'm the black one in my lane. So I just cover other things that are in my spectrum, but I'll just leave it to like other creators who are like colored or something to talk about her because they're like other pretty black girls that I could talk about if you don't get the drift. Now, another thing I thought was very interesting about this is like so if we understand that like there's like various versions of pretty, and I've given a lot like really anybody who has like supermodel in their bio, which are all the people you guys know. Like I've talked about this before, like Leah Kabidi. Obviously, you guys know who like Tyra Banks is, or like Naomi Campbell. There's so many like black ones now. Who's the girl like Mona Turagard or Achek Adubam? Is that her name? I've talked about her before. Actually, we could just go now. There's a thing called like Elite Models is like a really popular agency, and they have this thing called like Model World. They had something that was like a little wrap up of like the best and most of the year, because there was like yeah, so like the models top walkers. I think these are males though. Yeah, so there's the models top walkers season 24. There's Mona to guard. Um, this girl Sarah Caballero, Heather Diamond Strongarm. Um, this girl Liu Wen, Chu Wong. I thought they did another one. Who's I'm looking for a particular. This isn't the girl I'm looking for, but she's pretty too. You could. There's a girl. Her name is Kane Wang. They represent just like a ton of really pretty like black models, so you could pick anyone. This girl's called Fanta Fangos, but I think I'm talking about at aketch. Yeah. Her name is like Adut Aketch is her name. She's like she's kind of like the most booked and busy. Well, not the I don't know. I see her in every show, every season. She's like extremely booked and busy. So if you're looking for like a pretty black one, you could pretty much use her for any category, for high fashion, for commercial print, really for like basically any category, because she's just like that booked and busy. But anyway, so what I'm saying is there are like black versions that you could refer to across the shade spectrum. Anyway, so those women, like, I think she actually did a couple of YouTube videos, which I'll post in the description box, but she does like home tours. She's like all the properties that I own. Because not, so it's not just that she's like pretty and she's like walking these shows. Like in the way that like I'm telling you, like I'm a server, I make money like waiting tables, like that's my job, like, you know, she makes money like walking runways, like having fashion campaigns. And some of you guys are like influencers, and so maybe you like make money making YouTube videos or something, and you get sponsorships. So they make more. They like I can't. There's not a way like the top black models that I'm talking about are not the same as your influencers. Like maybe your influencers have more YouTube videos out, but if we're unless we're talking about like Emma Chamberlain, there's not really a black YouTuber who's like touching the amount of money that the black supermodels are making. That's why they're like super models. Like they are getting the brand endorsements, they're going on the trips, they're going to the places, they're getting the bag too. Not all of them, but a lot of like Aduketch, she's getting the bag. And there's the funny thing is there's a lot of like black celebrities, right, who like have more followers than her. They have more of whatever you think the thing is. But it doesn't mean that it. I don't know. How can you? It's not. Yeah, they're getting the bag, and I mean, we can go actually look at some stats about this. Like, let's actually look it up together. So if we look up this girl, her name is like Adut Aketch Bior. Let's look at like how much she made last year. Adut Aketch. Money earned 2022. Okay, so she's a Sudanese model who has a net worth of $1 million. Um, like she doesn't have a YouTube channel, nothing. She just walking the runway. Like her beauty alone has garnered her $1 million. So, are you trying to come back up? Okay, whatever. Yeah. Brave of you. Mm. Okay, well. Anyway, so moving on. Let's go back to the next bullet point on the list. Actually, I want to save that for another video, but I'll tell you that it's coming just so that you know. There's this idea of father to father. So you can kind of look at like fathers who are in the world, and I mean like who are in like who are in the public eye, like fathers that we know. Like Steve Harvey is a father that we know, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are familiar with what TMZ is, but there's a guy. Wait, let's go back here. His name is actually Harvey too. Harvey Levin, who started this show, who's like, he's actually an ex-attorney, or he's a legal analyst, but I think he was an attorney at one point. Um, Yeah, so TMZ stands for 30 mile zone. Hmm. And I feel like this is kind of interesting because, like, I know what TMZ is, right? And I feel like a lot of people actually in America know what TMZ is. But a lot of people who, like, are not in America are probably not actually going to know what like, they might have seen articles from TMZ, but I don't think that they actually, like, know what TMZ is and how, like, the BuzzFeed or, like, the Shade Room, man, like, the platforms have changed a lot where, like, TMZ was, like, the main place that a lot of us got the, like, major news from. And like, we're just not. Anyway, so DMZ is like this chat site that, oh gosh, no, Bruce, stop. Bruce, stop. No, please don't do that. Please don't. Bruce, no, just let it go. Just, it's okay. Just leave it alone. Um so um TMZ is like the site that we get our news from about celebrity culture. Now, I guess, like, it kind of depends. You don't have to care about celebrity culture, but I thought that Kenya made a video that was pretty good today that was basically talking about how, like, you have a right to talk about celebrities because they're asking to be talked about when they are asking to be celebrities, which I think is, like, extremely true. It is extremely true. Anyway, um there's a thing about basically how the way that one father, who's the guy who owns TMZ, is talking about another father, who is Steve Harvey, about a thing about Lori Harvey. And I thought that just that uh interaction is interesting. That interaction is interesting. Sorry, my cat just did something really funny. That interaction is interesting because I feel like so often you hear, like, women talking about things that women are doing, but not that often do we hear men talking about the things that men are doing. And I think it's really important to, like, listen to, like, people who are in the same positions actually chatting about things that people in that position, excuse me, are doing. Um Now, the reason that I also want to talk briefly about the Simone Biles situation, and, like, I think a lot of other people have just covered maybe the problematic nature of, like, what this guy said. But I just want to talk to you for a second from the perspective of a black woman. And I want to take some things out for a second. I want you to just go back to some labels that are kind of like universal here. Universally, we're talking about a woman, like a person who was born female. So she's a woman. So, like, and she's also a married woman. So she's a wife. And she's also, like, a celebrity. Now, the reality is, like, her husband is a celebrity as well, but she is also a celebrity. So you have, like, one celebrity talking about another celebrity saying that, like, they don't know that celebrity. Um we're all supposed to believe that this is, like, a positive thing. Now, in this case, this is kind of interesting because, like, I got to tell you, like, I'm not a person who watches sports. Like, sports aren't my thing. So, like, I don't actually know what's happening in the world of, like, sports entertainment most of the time. Like, most of the time, it's kind of like, I actually don't know what's going on. I'm not watching, I'm not paying attention. So, like, I definitely didn't know who the sports player was. Most of the sports players who come out, I don't know who they are, like, at all. I have no idea. Just zero